It was incredible. I couldn't believe the product you guys had. The governmental form I had for my records for having the pergola inspect and everything, it was A plus we put on there. My neighbors all came over. They just, oh my God, that looks fabulous.
Hi, we're here with Dr. Thomas Brown, who has worked with us with his luxury pergola for a little bit now, and he's decided to join us to discuss his experience. Thanks for joining us.
Glad to be here.
How did you find out about the luxury pergola and this product?
I looked everywhere. I looked everywhere from local companies. I looked had people coming in throughout the state. I looked everywhere, and somewhere I saw, I think probably in the yellow pages, the name of your company. And I started to investigate it, and I just kept on looking. I didn't have any referrals at that point in time. And what I saw, I consistently liked. Everything was it was incredible. I couldn't believe the product you guys had.
What about it attracted you to our product over some of the others?
The the pictures of the pergola itself, and then when you sent me in the mail that the package that had a piece of the aluminum you used to make the pergola, I knew I was making the right choice because it was something I was willing to build and not to worry about it falling apart. It was a real quality project.
So you build this yourself, correct?
I use my handyman too because I mean, this is a real pergola. This is not this is the parts in this are heavy. You need two people to carry these parts, and they need to be. I had a large pergola, I had like 16 by 20, and it some of those parts were getting off the truck and everything. We had the truck driver and a couple of people, but you need help in a bigger pergola putting it together. But and they're not flimsy. They're heavy parts because they're meant to last a lifetime, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we did, the lifetime warranty on everything, and you got grandfathered into that. So you are in Florida, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
And you had to get this approved and permitted and all that?
I had to get it approved. I had to get a building permit, and in the neighborhood I live in, I had to have approval by the architectural review board, and everything was approved wonderfully. In fact, a little story goes with that. We have the form that sits out front, and the form it's yellow, and they come by and they check off all the different things they have to check off when they go through it. And on the final approval, I looked at the form and he scrolled something down at the bottom, and it was an A on the bottom. And I didn't know what in the world it could be. And I looked at, and probably 2 or 3 hours later, I tried to call him, couldn't reach him. He had looked at the pergola on the bottom of the form, the governmental form I had for my records for having the pergola inspect and everything. It was A plus he put on there. This is all of these things. So I didn't expect that. It was quite a shock.
Yeah, permitting in Florida is not an easy process considering all the winds and hurricanes you guys get.
No, no, you're absolutely right. And I couldn't understand a lot of what was going on, but you all led me through the point where I knew that the footings I put in and everything, it was a whole education for me. In fact, I went through with the building commission 3 separate times to get everything right, only because it wasn't your problem. I couldn't understand how to do these things. I'd never done anything like this before, but it turned out perfectly well.
Good. And Chase, who you worked with, told me that there are a few other people in your neighborhood that are looking at these as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. The young lady, she's got the benefit of my journey because I went through it, and I went through the building permit process 3 times. I went to the ARC process 3 times, and kept on doing it. Well, I took my notes and I took my paperwork, and she could see what I did, and she could just she didn't copy it, but she went ahead and she had a guiding hand to go ahead and get these things done. So she's working right along, and she's so excited. It's unbelievable. I mean, she came over and looked at my pergola, and she said, "Oh my God, that's just what I want." She said, "That is just fantastic." So that was good.
Good. I'm really glad to hear it. When you were looking at other stuff on the market, especially DIY products, do you think any of them could have gotten permitted besides ours?
I don't know the answer to that question, right? But what I saw, nothing I was interested in. Everything is compromised. This is 100% full quality product. It's just incredible the way that everything fits together. I couldn't believe what you guys had done to make this. I'm buying this in Indiana and I'm in Florida, but you guys did such a great job putting this together that, I, of course, had to review the tape 2 or 3 times and read the notes and everything else, but it was like a mechanical set. It just went together all the way through. And when it didn't go together, when I didn't understand what you were saying, all I did was call Chase, who of course is your employee, and he was so helpful. He bent over backwards to make sure that I get things done. In fact, one time I think he talked to you, Brendan, and you helped to solve whatever was in the back of my mind, trying to understand what was going on.
Well, good. I'm glad to help. It was cool to see yours come together because we worked through for a while, especially from beginning initial stages to all the way through permitting and building it.
Yeah.
I think Chase and you and I guess the whole company, we all developed quite the relationship.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was. And it was, you guys had total understanding of what was going on. You didn't leave me in the dark at any point where I'm sitting here and I've got this pergola from Indiana sitting here. I'm going to myself, gosh, I hope those guys are there for me. And you guys were with me all the way. It was like, I mean, I'm thinking to myself, Chase has got to feel sick and tired of the things I call him and ask him, but he just kept encouraging me to call if I had a question. He made things so easy. It was incredible what he did. Nice guy. Chase is a real help.
Good. I'll give him your compliments. He he certainly tries to go above and beyond whenever he can to get things done for people.
Right, he did. Yes, all the way.
So, what color scheme did you choose, and why did you choose that?
Well, I chose the bronze, and I happen to like that. In fact, I had bronze windows put in my lanai. You can see the bronze windows in the lanai picture, and behind that you can see the bronze of the pergola standing behind it. And I was going to get the white on the ceiling, but there is another fella in our neighborhood that has your product, and I went and saw his product, and you're gonna have to correct me on the color. It's sort of the tan color. What color?
Oh, the stone louvers.
Yes, and that matched just perfectly. It was absolutely incredible. It was just that was the right colors. In fact, on the inside of I got the doors on the inside of my lanai here. I'm going to go ahead and have those doors changed from white to match. Everything just came together so well.
Were you hesitant buying a product online, especially one with this kind of price tag and building requirements?
Yes, I had to take a great big swallow right when I gave you my credit card number because I thought, boy, this is a shot in the dark, and you got to have a lot of faith to do that. But boy, I'll tell you what, you guys just lived up to the bill 1,000%. There was no question at all that you guys have a quality project and a quality organization to stand behind this the way it did. It really did. Yes, to answer your question succinctly, yes, absolutely. It was a shot in the dark, but I'm so glad I decided to take it. I mean, the building inspector, he puts an A+ on his form when he looked at the pergola. You know you've got a quality project because he sees these things all day long.
Yeah. And we realize that it takes a lot of trust to give us that kind of money up front, especially on the internet when you haven't really seen us in person. So we certainly endeavor to be good stewards of that trust.
I think you have right down to the very end. Yes, and so you get this pergola, and it's filled full of these parts, bags of nuts and bolts and everything else. Miraculously, when you finish putting this pergola together, there's the count of all the parts was absolutely perfect. Nothing was missing. I mean, I thought, oh goodness, something's got to be missing here, but everything was in its place. It was just perfect. I don't know how you guys got the count for all of the nuts and the bolts and everything else to be perfect, but it was. It was just well thought out. You guys did a great job with that.
Yeah, it is tough to do when you're manufacturing it yourself. I guess a little behind the scenes, we use these little U-line scales that actually count it by weight. So that helps us get all of our counts right instead of piecing through one part at a time.
So that's your secret. Because
that is the secret.
I couldn't imagine somebody sitting there counting all of these screws, but what you're saying makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
That was one of the things we had to adjust early, because when you start manufacturing your own stuff, there are things you don't even know you don't know, and the learning curve is very steep. So I'm very pleased that you got exactly the right number of nuts and bolts. That is something we're proud of, that most people don't understand, that we're really proud of that.
We would finish putting the legs together, and I'd look down and think, my God, the screws are absolutely perfect numbered. How'd they get that right? It was good. It was really good.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. What kind of suggestions would you have for people that are kind of looking at this product class or need a shade structure in their backyard, since you've already gone through the whole experience?
I think one of the things that did sell me, frankly, and I didn't mention it earlier on when you asked me the question, was seeing another pergola that you guys had sold. Walking, and it's up the other fellow in my neighborhood, a couple of neighborhoods down, seeing exactly what was there. I knew I was making the right decision. Before that, it was like a shot in the dark. But when I saw his pergola, and I knew what my pergola was going to look like, I mean, I had no question I was with the right company. It was excellent, a great product. Yes.
Yeah, so it sounds like you and a bunch of the other folks who are luxury pergola customers are kind of recruiting more people into the fold and showing them your units. Is that accurate?
Well, if I'm asked to do it, okay, because I think you guys have called me and asked me to show it to somebody else, and I brought her over and I helped her with the permitting. I helped her with all the things, and a neighborly thing. I'm glad to help them because I knew what I went through, and I've already saved her a lot of time and stuff. She just goes right through the process, so it made a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we found is our customers are really hospitable and open to showing their units to potential customers, and that really helps folks see what they're actually going to get before they just pull the trigger online. And it's been really nice to have that kind of community with our customer base.
That's good. That's real good. Yeah.
So I guess it's kind of a layup at this point, but would you recommend the luxury pergola for people who are looking at some sort of outdoor shade solution?
I wouldn't pick anybody else but Luxury Pergola. I mean, my experience has been absolutely impeccably fantastic. It has just been, all these questions you have are answered when you see your final product sitting there. It's just like, I can't believe it. My neighbors all came over. They said, oh my God, that looks fabulous. I mean, it was just the neighbors, they saw this building going on. And of course, everybody's peeking around the corner to see what's going on. But when they finally saw what was coming up, they're walking out and said, that is absolutely gorgeous. I really like your pergola. It looks fabulous. So I was, and they're happy because sometimes your neighbors, you don't know what they're going to think, but each one, we're very happy with it. It's good.
Good. Well, thank you for taking the time to speak with us about your experience. And hopefully it provides some insight to others, because we can say stuff all we want, but it's really good to hear from somebody who actually went through that entire journey.
Well, I've had such a good response and it's such a good product here. I'll be glad to talk to anybody that needs somebody to reassure them or give them my experiences of what I had, because it was a very, very good, worthwhile experience.
Well, thanks again for taking the time to join us, and I hope you enjoy your product for many years to come.
So thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks.